Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, to buy or not to buy? That may be the question you're asking yourself this holiday season. And when it comes to pets, impulse buys are never a good idea. We're learning about some of the more common animals people tend to purchase and why you should always do your research. And raptor ambassadors, how seeing these beautiful birds up close can lead to conservation actions with far-reaching impacts. Plus, we're here at the dens for our latest Breaking Barriers segment. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. As we head into the holiday season, you may be checking your list once or twice, trying to figure out what to get some of your favorite people. And for some of us, it's in our nature to migrate to animals. Their unconditional love is something stories are made of all through history. But at the Farmhouse Animal and Nature Sanctuary, the road is paved with one too many good intentions. They get calls from well-meaning humans, sometimes in dire predicaments, but more often than not, someone did not do their research, and it's the animal that ends up displaced.
We are Farmhouse Animal and Nature Sanctuary. We're a 501c3 nonprofit exotic and farm animal sanctuary. We range from horses and cows to kangaroos and tortoises, sugar gliders, prairie dogs. There's a lot of different types of animals. Most of the animals that come here will stay here for the remainder of their lives, but we do have animals available for adoption like pigs and guinea pigs and rabbits. But many of the ones that come here are older or have medical issues, so we tend to keep those here so we can take care of them. We, on a daily basis, get calls from people that need to surrender their animals. We get calls from Animal Services asking us to take them in, and we work with Animal Services both in Manatee and Sarasota County, as well as FWC Amnesty Program. Animals come to us from them. Sometimes animals are abandoned and they'll end up here, but we do get a lot of owner surrender calls. Nobody gets paid to take care of these animals. We just do it because we love them. So this is Rascal and Bandit. They are ferrets. They came to us because people think they're really good for the holidays as a gift and don't do their research. They don't know what goes into taking care of them. And then they end up at places like ours. So we always recommend people take the time to research the animals before they decide to purchase them as a gift. There's a lot that goes into taking care of a ferret. They do sleep a lot. They will sleep between 14 and 18 hours a day, but the 4 hours that they're awake or the 6 hours that they're awake, they are full of energy. They want to play, they want stimulation, they love to climb, they love to chew things. So if you're going to let them run around your house, make sure that you're doing it with them. Otherwise you're going to have holes in your drywall, you're going to have cords chewed up. But they have to have a lot of stimulation so they can just keep busy. But they do have to have their nails clipped frequently. They do have to be vaccinated for rabies. That's a law in Florida. Your ferret has to have a rabies vaccine every year or every 3 years, depending on which one you purchase. But they're low maintenance as far as veterinary care. You do want to make sure you have an exotic vet on hand just to be safe. But other than that, they need to have a very high protein diet. Ferrets are actually predators to other animals, so if you have guinea pigs or rabbits, you do not want to mix the ferrets with them. Some people think it's so cute mixing species, but when you're not looking, they're going to be chewing on those other animals and trying to hurt them, because that's their natural drive. They have no choice on that matter. Ferrets are escape artists. They can easily figure out a latch and open up their little cage and get out. You open the door for 2 seconds to go check your mail, they're going to run out behind you. And next thing you know, they're lost, and it's months before you find them, if you find them at all. So you want to make sure that they're always supervised. Rabbits are a very popular pet around the holidays, around Christmas time, Easter, but again, people need to do their research. Rabbits can be a great pet if you know how to take care of them properly. So this here is Domino. He's a Dutch rabbit, and that's Mr. Whiskers. He's a lionhead. So there's like over 20 breeds, different types of species of rabbits, and they range in all different sizes. These guys are small. We have some that are Flemish giants that are probably 20 pounds each. And they do make good pets, but you want to make sure that they have the proper caging. You want to make sure that you're feeding them actual rabbit food, as well as fresh vegetables every single day. They need veggies, and they need unlimited hay, and good quality Timothy hay. As you can see, these guys are very calm. They love to be held, they love to be groomed. But again, if you take them out and put them in your house and don't supervise them, they're going to chew on cords. They're going to chew up your baseboards, your furniture. So you want to make sure you either have a nice size X pen that they can play in, or you're actually sitting there with them. We actually have one of our adopters that sends me pictures every couple of months. The rabbit sits on his lap while he watches football, and that's their bonding time. But yeah, you can definitely bond with them as like you do a cat or a dog. They are short-lived. They only live about 5 to 10 years, so they're not going to last as long as your dog. They will shed, so you want to you'll want to definitely brush them and groom them. I think the benefit of having a pet like a rabbit or a cat or a bird is that companionship. Animals have been proven to help lower heart rates and help people de-stress. So these little guys would definitely make you less stressed if you know how to handle them. If you don't do your research and you're doing work that you didn't expect to do, it's going to add to your stress. So you want to make sure you know what you're getting into. Okay, this is Morticia. She's a bearded dragon. When she came to us, we thought that her name was Morty. We thought she was a boy. Bearded dragons are very difficult to tell if they're boys or girls. The vet actually had to do blood work to determine that, and we found out that she had some medical issues, and she was trying to form eggs, so we had to up her calcium. But bearded dragons make a nice pet for people that maybe are allergic to bunnies and want something that's a little bit more low-key. They can be friendly. They will sit on your lap. You can take them places. We have what we call a bounding pouch that we take them in and put them in there and carry them around. Initially, though, they're a little expensive to set up. I think that bearded dragons are popular because they are a little bit more low-key. They're not a very energetic animal. They don't shed fur everywhere. They do shed skin, but that's a lot easier to clean up. If you have any type of allergies to rabbits or cats, a reptile would be a better choice for a pet. The main thing, though, you want to make sure that you have a UVB and a heat source for them. That's very important. They tend to bromate during the winter, and you want to make sure that they stay active a little bit. Another popular reptile is the leopard geckos. They're about half the size of a bearded dragon. Now, a bearded dragon likes to be solitary. They like to stay alone, whereas the leopard geckos, you can do really well with them in pairs. They're more active, but they are insectivores. They will eat nothing but insects, whereas the bearded dragon will eat romaine, leafy greens, different vegetables, and insects. They seem to be a pretty easy pet to take care of, so we don't see too many of them coming into rescue. So in the aquarium for a leopard gecko, you want to make sure they have things to climb on. They come from Australia, so they like that kind of arid temperature, but they need the heat, and they like all the rocks to climb on. So any kind of hides for them to get under, rocks, branches, things to climb on, a water source. They won't bathe so much as a bearded dragon does, but they like to be misted. They're very friendly. You can pick them up, hold them. The biggest thing that having an animal in the house with children is it'll teach them responsibility. That's and how to care for another living being. Empathy. Once we started, we just felt like this is something that was needed. Our community needed this, and we just can't help ourselves. We want to make sure that these animals are well cared for. I do get that question a lot. Why save a goat? Why we have a goat that had to have surgery? Why save a goat? It's just a goat. But it's a living being. It deserves to have a life, and it It didn't ask to be put here. It didn't ask to have a family love it and then throw it away. So we want to make sure that they feel that love.
And what do you find with our area here growing so much? Is the need going up, going down?
The need for places like us and animal service, animal rescues is going up. Everybody is at capacity or over capacity. Everyone I talk to in the rescue industry are worried because there's no space left. We have a lot of animals and no space for them. And we're the same way. We are pretty much at capacity in every one of our areas, every one of our pastures. The most important thing is volunteering and spreading the word, donating. It costs us over $2,000 a month to feed these animals. So donations are a big thing for us. We need to have donations to help feed them, get their vet care, just take care of them.
To adopt one of these animals or to volunteer your time, go to farmhousesanctuary.org. Coming up on Animal Outtakes, raptor ambassadors up close. Hear stories of survival and second chances, how these birds are teaching people about the importance of conservation. That's next.
Good morning, Mr. Benson. Your breakfast is served.
Time for another day in doggy paradise. I sure am one lucky pup.
Mr. Benson, would you like to go out for your morning stroll? The weather is quite lovely today.
That sounds wonderful. Don't mind if I do. After all that exercise, I think I'd like to lounge by the pool and maybe dip my paws in.
As you wish, sir. Right this way.
What a perfect day. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else but Donte's den while Mom and Dad are away.
At Donte's Den, we pride ourselves in providing the best experience for your beloved pup. Whether it be a day, a month, or a year, Donte's Den should always be at the top of your list for boarding. With an expansive campus, your dog will enjoy daily walks, pool time, and an endless supply of love. Even better, it's all under 24/7 supervision from our wonderful staff. If you're anything like us, your dog's safety and happiness come first. To learn more about Donte's Den, visit dontesden.org.
And now we head to the Raptor Center at the University of Minnesota. The specialized hospital admits more than 1,000 birds of prey each year. Their goal? To release all birds back to the wild. But sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the injuries are too severe and the animal must live out its life in human care. And at the Raptor Center, they become educational birds and are an integral part of the team. How do you get Lois to just be so relaxed and calm on your arm?
Well, Lois is truly a rock star. She's been here 22 years, so she knows the routine. So a lot of practice, a lot of opportunity for her to make choices to participate or not participate. And then we also throw in some treats here and there. So Claire, for example, has a pouch on her hip, and see, Lois knows where the treats come from. Claire will provide a treat when Lois is performing exactly the behavior that we would like. So of course, Claire doesn't speak owl, Lois doesn't speak English, so the way for Claire to communicate with Lois is to provide treats when she's doing exactly what we want her to do. So.
Now, how old is Lois?
She's 22 years old, just over a little.
Okay. Would you consider that a teenager at this point? How long will she live?
So she's a full adult now, and they reach adulthood and kind of lose those juvenile sort of behaviors early on. In the wild, she might only have lived to be 15 or 20 years old, but here at the Raptor Center and in other human care, we might expect 30, 35, maybe even 40 years from her. If everybody in the audience leaves thinking birds are cool, or raptors are cool, that's the starting point. That's really where we want them to go first. Now beyond that, we'd love for them to take that and turn that into conservation action, right? I've learned I love raptors. Raptors are cool, so I'm not going to throw my apple cores out of the car because that attracts rodents to the side of the road, and that attracts raptors who might then be hit by cars. So we hope that they'll turn that into a conservation action. Maybe it's recycling. Maybe it's not throwing that can, out into the road. Maybe it's keeping that can for recycling. whatever that conservation action is, that's great, but it all starts with birds are cool.
Well, we've gone from very big to very tiny. Who have we got here?
This is Spruce, our northern saw-whet owl.
Well, he sure has some gorgeous talons there. And that beak, that's not something I'd want to mess with.
Definitely. They take down things like mice and voles, which in comparison to him, if you think about the size of a large house mouse, still pretty big.
Yeah, he could
right?
probably do it. Yeah,
Definitely.
But you know, somebody so cuddly like that, is the tendency when somebody finds you along the wayside, would they want to scoop him up and take him home and nurture him? And that's really the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. We, not just here at the Raptor Center, but all over, we kind of face the issue of people wanting to take these guys home as pets because they are very cute. And we see them a lot in the media as well, like movies with Harry Potter and things like that, of people kind of showing that they might look super cute and cuddly, but that's just not the truth. And it's actually against the law to keep them as a pet as well.
How does she find her way to the Raptor Center?
So she has kind of an interesting story. She was actually found in Ohio, and some well-meaning person found the baby bird in their barn and thought that this little fluff ball had been abandoned, like we were talking about earlier. And so they took her home, rescued her, and fed her as best as they could. And unfortunately, they didn't know what her dietary needs were, so she developed metabolic bone disease, which we used to call rickets, and her bones didn't form correctly. At some point, they realized something was wrong, called their local wildlife rehabilitator, who was a friend of mine, who called us up here at the Raptor Center to see if we could assess her and evaluate her condition and to treat her. So we did treat her. Her metabolic bone disease is healed, but her bone abnormalities will never heal. There'll always be a little crooked and a little twist in her spine. And also, because she grew up around people, she's imprinted on humans. So very comfortable around people, would not know how to be a vulture in the wild. So that's how she got here and why she has joined our ambassador program. Much different.
So I have to ask you, you're going to train her as an ambassador. She's going to be around kids most of the time. But she has already been exposed to them. What do they say when they leave?
What do the kids say when they leave? You know, it's interesting. Most of the kids are like, they love her. They're like, oh, she's so gross, it's cool. Or you know, they're at first taken aback, and then afterwards they think she's great. And she's so active most of the time, you know, pulling on her leash or doing some busy behavior, that they usually get really engaged with her. And they're happy that they can, you know, tell their parents to slow their cars down when they see vultures on the side of the road.
Stick around. There's much more Animal Outtakes after the break. Here at Donte's Den Foundation, we often get calls from people all over our community looking for help. One of our more recent calls came from a family who bit off more than they could chew. Meet Atlas.
This is Atlas. Atlas is a very active 4-month-old puppy. Atlas was surrendered to us. His mom and dad, they have young children, and when Atlas started getting the zoomies, he started knocking the children over, so they surrendered him to Donte's. He is a great dog, gets along with other animals. He likes to take himself for long walks, as you can see. Super playful, super energetic, just loves having a good time. So he'll be starting his obedience training very, very shortly. So he's brand new to us, so we're getting him into that phase where we're able to build the trust and get that rapport down so we can actually get him out and about with the staff members to play. We want to make sure they understand the basic principles of obedience before they get into a home. That way they can sit, they can down, they can stay, they can come back. The big focus on this is the recall, right? Sit down and stay is great, but when you open your door, today is the day of Amazon. Everybody has Amazon deliveries. We don't want the dog to run outside and keep running. We want the dog to be able to come back as soon as we call him. So Atlas, come. That's a good boy, huh? Oh, I see the camera. And he's a beautiful, beautiful, happy dog and loves to play, loves to be around people, and loves other animals. What are you doing? He's 4 months old.
What kind of dog?
He is by the looks of him, it looks like he's got some St. Bernard in there somewhere in his face. The rest of him is just, I want to run around like a nut. Again, we want to make sure the dog matches your lifestyle. So if you're coming in and you're an avid runner, I like to walk 3 to 5 miles a day, you need a dog like Atlas. If you're sedentary or you like to just do a couple laps around the block, you know, we have some great older dogs that would be beneficial to you. So Atlas prefers to walk himself. He is leash trained, as in he likes to grab the leash and run with it. But he is just an awesome, fun dog to have around. Sit, and that's our first sit with Atlas. Who's a good boy? Eyes up. Pay attention. Who's a good boy? That's a good boy. Oh, it's a good boy.
For much more about the programs offered at Donte's Den Foundation in Mayaca, Florida, go to dontesden.org. And we'll be right back. Each year around this time, we are invited to take part in a special sort of cleanup on the Suncoast. And we were inspired once again by the new generation of first graders at Braden River Elementary School, who are better known as the Waste Wizards. And as you will see, it's about so much more than picking up garbage.
We found bottles, bottle caps, lots of plastic, bags, Lots of garbage.
We have the first grade classes have been invited to come. All the first grade teachers, their students, their families.
A lot of bottle caps, plastic, and the plastic also wrap around trees. It's hard to do. Well, I thought, how sad. People should clean up the earth.
The little picture, of course, is what you see happening. Children and families picking up trash. But there's really so much more to it. So at Braden River Elementary School, we do something called project-based learning. It really gives the children ownership of their learning. It makes them excited about their learning. They become so entrenched in what topic we're covering, which is becoming waste wizards, learning how to reduce our waste, that then they start to problem solve. Then they can see that this issue is planet-wide. And it's something that they may take on when they're in their 20s, in their 30s. And what a great way, not only to make our planet a better place, but to enable them to know that, hey, I can solve problems. I can take what I've learned and I can use it to make things better, to improve my life and the lives of the people around me.
Because I was because I was helping the earth stay healthy, clean, and survive longer.
They like to dig in the dirt and find things, right? They want to know what kind of animals are around, and especially with becoming a waste wizard, they realize that their waste can affect the lives of animals, plants, and of course, people.
I would tell them to stop littering and start helping the earth and picking up litter. Well, you should actually pick up the trash and make sure the world could be a happier place and cleaner. How we can help Earth and clean up and keep it healthy. The end.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. And we'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching. As we head into the holiday season, you may be checking your... You got it like this. Coming up on, don't we normally say coming up now on animals?
Well, we're not saying now, but we're going to tease.
Well, fine, okay, whatever.